So the next problem is that the lion was this concrete lion, and it looks concrete, and it doesn't look like it's anything part of the sandstone kind of mountain. So we need to put some texture and color onto this thing, so it looks like it's part of the landscape. All right. So the way we do that is we're going to use the actual texture of the mountain right over here. So let's get our lasso tool, which is this one here, L for lasso. And we're just going to grab, so make sure you have your mountain layer selected. So that means you're going to just grab a nice big chunk of this mountain here. May not be big enough, so Command D to delete. You want to make it big enough so it's going to cover this entire this entire lion. So I just hold on my spacebar, move it a bit, just make it nice and large, something like that. And now that I have a selection, I want to make it into a new layer. So I want to copy that onto a new layer. So with the selection, you can go Command J or Control J, and it creates that new layer. And you can see that if you turn these off, there it is. There's that selection onto a new layer. And we're going to call this texture. So double click on it and call it texture. And you want to drag it above the lion layer. So drag it above the lion layer. All right, we have the texture layer above the lion layer, and we're going to get our move tool, selection tool, V. And with that layer selected, you're going to drag that thing right on top of the lion head. And if you need to resize like I do, go ahead and resize. Command T and just resize it so it kind of fits over completely over the lion. Like that, you know. Okay. So then we want to blend, so don't forget to hit enter to accept that change. So now we want to blend those two layers. And how do we blend any two layers? You always blend it with the blend mode. So in this case, we want to choose the overlay because we want to keep the contrast between the lights and the darks. All right, so that's good. Obviously, we don't want to have the texture outside of the lion, right? We don't want any texture on the clouds or the sky. That doesn't make any sense. So we need to basically make this into a clipping mask so the lion head will reveal only that part. So the way you do that is you hold down your option key and you move your cursor between these two layers until you get that icon, and then you click. And now the texture is only the texture is the part that's visible is only what is inside the lion head itself. All right. So then that's how you can create a texture in here. And you can decide, if you look at it, maybe the texture's maybe too opaque, maybe a little bit more transparent to make it look like it fits. And so with that layer selected, you can type a number or you can drag this thing. So for example, if I type 5, now it's 50% transparent. I can choose another number just to kind of see how that works. So you decide. 70% seems okay to me. 76 maybe? Whatever. You decide. And then I'm going to put so the brush itself, so let's see, maybe you want to take this texture and maybe soften the bottom edge of it a little bit. So sometimes there's a hard edge to the actual texture. Like right here for me. So we can soften that up a bit by putting a layer mask on that. So with that texture layer that's selected, I'm going to put a layer mask, get my brush tool and brush with black. So B, brushing with black, a little bit bigger, brushing that away. Something like that. Okay? So with your compositing projects, you can put textures on from different parts of the photo, or a different photo. You can grab a texture, put it on as a blend mode between your top layer and your bottom layer, and then use a vector mask to kind of mask out what you need. And don't forget to make this into a clipping mask using the option and then hold down that little key there to get that icon, the opposite of that icon, I should say. So that's a technique that's pretty common when you want to blend things together and have textures.